Hey, this is 6.1.3.3's lab. So I do a quick spin for Hook of the Reaper and Lead Hook Strip. And this is for an issue. I kind of call it more of an issue than a bug, but we'll kind of get more into it when we get there. And also there's one enhancement. So since I was doing things, I thought of an enhancement for it. So I put it in there. So well, let's get into it. So, what is the issue? The issue is when people are using scripts to force close Hook of the Reaper. So, if you force close Hook of the Reaper, it cannot shut down properly. And if Lead Hook Strip is connected, Hook of the Reaper might not have time to close it down properly because it sends info. It sends commands to it saying, hey, get out of game mode. If you're in game mode, okay, shut down the attract patterns and do all that. But if you have forced it close, it can't have that anymore. It can't send the commands out. So that was kind of a problem because the people were using drives and like scripts and they just close everything down, and that's not good. You shouldn't force close down any program actually unless you have to. But instead of getting back to the problem where it couldn't shut down properly because it was sending data over the serial port, it couldn't get to it. So what I put into Lead Hook Strip is, so when Hook of the Reaper closed down, it's just going to shut down the serial port. So in Lead Hook Strip, I use that as to shut down automatically. So if it gets shut down automatically, if it's in game mode, it'll leave game mode. It will properly clean up the memory, and it will also shut down the attract patterns. Kind of what Hook of the Reaper does when it's closing down, but since it's pretty much forced shut, because usually what happens when you close a program, there's kind of it goes in an orderly kind of thing. And you can have deconstructors to say, hey, when you're closing, make sure you clean up this, make sure to do this, and yada yada. But if you force close it, it can't run the deconstructor because, Windows says you need to close now and just boots it. So then it kind of leaves it a lot of sometimes in a mess. So as I was talking about, Hook of the Reaper should never be force closed unless you have to. Unless you close it and it's not shutting down, then you usually go into the task manager. And this kind of goes along with emulators and like Demolish Shooter. Like I said, programs have a process of shutting down, and it can really mess things up. And it's kind of sometimes if you're like running, games for hours and things get kind of progressively worse and worse, and this might be adding into it because it's talking to other things, talking to the OS, and when you force close it, like I said, it's not shutting down properly and can leave things hanging, and those things kind of, add up. So if you're using like the /f to force close things in your script in AHK, don't do that. But before I kind of figure out it was force closing, I did some other things. So I thought, hey, maybe it's a multi-threaded thing and it's not shutting the attract patterns down because it's a multi-threaded race condition. So I separated the cores and how they shut down the attract pattern. So core 0 does strip 1 and 3. Then core 1 does 0 and 2. And the reason for that is core 0 kind of does the communication. So that's why the first strip 0 is started on core 1. Then it kind of goes back to 0, back to 1, back to 0 kind of thing. So to make sure there's no problems, I kind of separated everything into its own core, so there's no race conditions or anything like that. And also, I had another thing where I updated it to always kind of clear when a game starts. It was only if you had attract patterns, but if you had problems shutting down, it might clear it out. So I just like, hey, it's very quick, doesn't cost you anything. So just clear it out when the game starts. So that was a good thing. So that's these two things were kind of just because I didn't know it was the force close yet. Because every time I run it, it was running fine. A lot of times I don't use scripts. I run it and it closed down properly, kind of thing, and try to do it. So then I had to go into the strips to make it. But before I got there, I had to, a track pattern shutting down and making sure it's cleared out. But once I got here, yeah, I knew it was the force close. So I know people are updating things, so hopefully that should be taken care of. But now this is kind of a fix anyways. If something doesn't get shut down properly, it still will shut everything and clear everything out. So those were kind of the issues with lead hook strip. Then I had for the enhancements is I decided I was talking to Peter about the reset button that I put in to Hook of the Reaper to reset the lead hook strip device, which is the Pico 2 or the Pico 2W, if he had any problems. But when I was talking to him, I was like, hey, it would be really good if I added a button to reset it into the boot select mode, which is where you update the firmware. This is where you press the boot select button, power it, cycle it, then it brings up the USB drive, then you drag the firmware into it. So if you can just have a button to do that automatically, that would make a lot of things easier. So I read up on how to do that, and I got the command into lead hook strip, into Pico 2, on how to reset into the boot mode or boot select mode. So then once it goes in, it brings up the USB drive for updating. So it makes updating a lot easier. So hopefully this is the last time people have to open up their arcade cabinets and hit the button and power cycle it. Because you have to do it this time. You can't use the button because the command's not in there. The command's in firmware 0.41. So once you get that firmware on, then hopefully anything after 0.41, you don't have to open up your arcade cabinet. Then in Hook of the Reaper, there's now an update lead hook strip right next to the reset. Like I said, once you get it in, get the new firmware in and all that, so next time if you have to use it, you don't have to open up your cabinet. So as you can see here now, this is the one I put it in version 1.3.3, where you can reset the lead hook strip. Now there's an update lead hook strip. And this is in the edit light controller. So that's where it's done. You hit that, then a couple seconds later, it'll open up the USB drive. Then you have 3 minutes to get the firmware into that drive. And after 3 minutes, Hook of the Reaper will just kind of cancel out and go, hey, you're taking too long. Because, it's waiting for you to do it, and it's checking to see if it can connect to the serial port. So it's just sitting there waiting. But after a while, it shouldn't, can't wait forever. So then I just put a 3 minute wait on it. So, which is pretty easy. If you can't do it in 3 minutes, then you can just shut down Hook the Reaper, then put the file in there. Then once you get the file in there and it reboots, then you can just reopen Hook of the Reaper if you don't do it in 3 minutes. And also after 3 minutes, I'll have a pop-up box saying, hey, this is taking too long. So that's good. Like I said, it should help out a lot with that. And that's how you do it. Then the good thing is Nathan, as actually, if people didn't see, I put out 8 new lead hook strip example files. This is 4 for 2 strips and 4 for 4 strips. So there's 12 example files total now. And it pretty much covers most all the cases you have. If you have ammo or life, usually you have ammo and life, then you have life. Usually you don't always have ammo. then you don't have like anything. So I try to cover every case, especially with 2-player and 1-player, and you can set it up a lot of different ways. So actually, for the to download those on the website, you can go to Light Controller, and they're here at the bottom, or I put them so when you go to Hook of the Reaper version, the latest one, version 1.3.3B, they'll be down here too, 8 new light hook strip examples too. So you can grab those too. And if you're updating from 1.3.3 already, I just put the exe. You just need to grab the exe. And I guess if you don't have these already, the 8 new light hook examples. So if you did that already, if you're still on 1.3.2b, you have to go get the change files from that release, then you can come back here and just grab the exe. So that's easy to do. Then for lead hook strip, you can see here where you download it. And also I updated too, so you have like RGB, and I put like most common and used with the controllers, and RGBW is here, and also give you explanations like, hey, if you're getting confused which one you need, use the RGB. So I got that in there too. But also another good thing is, so Nathan, with all the new example files, he created a whole bunch of game files already for, I think, Demol Shooter, and also he has the group files. So he gave me, so if you come here to Light Controller, and right here I put people's Light Controller game files, and that will take you to his Google Drive, where you can download all the files if you want to. And also he has, he's using ammo life display range with 2 strips, right? With player 1 on strip 0, which is the left, player 2 on strip 1, which is right. So if people now can download it, and if people create more files, I'll put them up, so then everybody will have files, and people can pick what they want, as you can do a lot of different parameters. You have full control of timing. Time on, time off, sequential reloads, colors, everything. So, but besides that, that's quick and easy. So hopefully you can download that. Then when things close now, even if you're using like scripts and all that, if it's foreclosed, it probably will cover it now. And also you have the new enhancement there for the button. But that's it. Thanks. Bye.